After months of waiting and speculation, finally Africa TV as well as ESL released a statement today lining out what the future of StarCraft 2 when it comes to competitive esports will look like in 2023 to 2024. And let's start with, well, honestly, the absolute worst news, which I really hadn't expected, and it's a massive downsizing of the GSL. A total prize purse for the entire year of 102 million Korean won, equaling about, I think it is 80k USD, if I'm not mistaken. We have 16 participants per GSL season rather than 20. And on top of that, we also only get offline finals from the semis on. So rather than having everything offline, we only get the semifinals and the finals as an offline stage. It says over here, GSL round of 16 to round of 8 will be played online. Now, the prize pool per season is about, I think this is what, 8k USD or so for first place, compared to this year's 30k USD that the first place got. No super tournaments have been announced yet either. I can't really see this as anything other than the death of the, well, pretty much the Korean scene in my mind, at least. Last year per season in the GSL, we had 123,000 US dollars per season. Right now, the total is 78,000. The first prize of last year was 30k. That is more than is in an entire season right now. We only have 34 million Korean won per season. It is insane. To think about that, at least 16 players need to partially live from prize money. I think it is very difficult for most Korean pro gamers to say, all right, I'm going to spend another year playing StarCraft full time. Of course, GSL is not the only thing that they have. There's also the international event still, but if you're a top 10 to top 16 GSL performer, you're maybe going to be making 5 to 6k in this entire year, which I don't really see as a very viable career path. In my opinion, I expected a lot of different things, but not this. And I think one of the reasons for this is what it seems like to me is that I think Blizzard did a step back, where in the past Blizzard funded a lot of the prize pools for StarCraft 2 as a developer. That now is not the case anymore. And I guess this is the money that Africa TV thinks it's worth. But yeah, it's a massive decline. I'll pull up some more numbers here. Like I said, last year we had 369,000 for the 3 seasons, and on top of that, another 60k for the 2 super tournaments that got run. So it's like 420k. We're talking about a mere 20% in 2023 of what we had in 2022. I think it's absolutely insane. Broadcast being pushed to online as well rather than offline. I wonder if we're even going to be getting a studio broadcast from on-site casters, or if it's going to be like how a lot of the DreamHack Master stuff gets done, where we just get 2 casters that are calling through Discord or Skype, which is fine. I honestly rather have a bigger prize pool for players and them cutting the studio broadcast, but it is very, very rough. If you're a Korean pro gamer, or if you wanted to go to Korea to play in the GSL, which honestly I kind of wanted to do next year, it's now pretty much guaranteed a losing move. I mean, even if you qualify, you're gonna get what? You're hardly gonna get any cash. It's not even gonna be a month's rent. It's really sick. It's really sick. Yeah, I don't quite know what to say about this, and I think we've said enough. It's not a very long post either. Just explaining everything. GSL is celebrating its 14th year this year. It's not much of a celebration and more of a funeral. Then we move to the ESL Pro Tour season 2023-24 announcement. I think this is more in line of the expectations of what I had kind of expected for GSL as well. So we have the same amount of tournaments. We have the ESL Open Cups every single week, 3, 1 per region with a $400 prize purse. And then there's the ESL StarCraft 2 Master Summer, which will be held in Jönköping in Sweden from June 16 to June 18. And then we also have the ESL StarCraft 2 Masters Winter, which will be held in Atlanta. I'm very glad that we're going back to Atlanta. Last year's, in my opinion, best tournament was in North America, in Atlanta. Fantastic crowd coming out. Will be in 15 to 17 December. That's an interesting timing just before Christmas, but I guess we'll see if people will come out for that. Prize pool has been decreased, whereas last year per entire Masters, or I think back then it was called slightly different. I can't even recall what it was called. What did we have again? We had, for the regionals, we had about 235K, and for the main event, 100K. I think they're going to keep the same prize pool for the main event, which is about 100,000, and then remove a lot of money from the regionals. And the reason why they will do that is because they, I think it's further down here, is because they combine the Americas region. So Latin America and North America will combine into Americas. China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Macau, Japan, Oceania, and the rest of Asia will be merged into the Asia region. And then the European and the Korean regions continue like preceding years. So there's going to be 4 regions in total. I think this is going to chef China and the Australian region and Taiwan. Take a lot of money from there, kind of put it in one prize pool. So making it more difficult for the lower level players to get cash. Well, I think for the top players, not too much is going to change in terms of prize money within the foreigner system, outside of the GSL, that is. And then after a year of tough battles and stellar action, the world's best StarCraft 2 players will battle it out at the EPT StarCraft 2 Championship. At this pinnacle StarCraft 2 tournament, one of these players will ultimately lift the coveted trophy and become the new official world champion. Stay tuned, as more details about the EPT StarCraft 2 Championships will be announced later this year. So I read somewhere else as well that it's not even sure yet if it's going to be held in Katowice. It is possible that it will be held somewhere else. I do like the Polish scene, so I wouldn't mind having it in Katowice again. When it comes to Europe, I think the biggest crowds usually go to either Home Story Cup in Germany or they're in Poland. So I wouldn't mind having it there once again. Now, there is a frequently asked questions here as well. Why did you merge the smaller regions? Well, that seems fairly clear. It's just so that there's a little bit more competitiveness, and so that it can merge the prize pool as well to at least get some money. Because if you're taking away a lot of prize pool, then it needs to come from somewhere. It's going to come, I think, mainly from the smaller regions, which is just going to have one merged prize pool. What is the total prize money? It's going to be 663,600. So we see 200K is already reserved for the EPT championships. That's going to be announced later this year. Yeah, and here it says about not going to be at Katowice. What about GSL? Will it continue? Well, we just read the death sentence for GSL. And then we will continue supporting the StarCraft 2 esports scene with some of the most talented pro gamers and passionate fans in the whole esports world. Our current plan is also to continue implementing the tournament map pool updates and balance changes from Blizzard Entertainment. I think this is a very reasonable downscaling. If my theory is correct and Africa TV did not receive money from Blizzard, then I think that, or at least significantly less money from Blizzard, then I think a lot of this prize pool and the organization of these tournaments is coming out of ESL's own pocket as well. And I'm fairly impressed that they managed to put on this much. It means that there is some health in the StarCraft scene without necessarily developer help, which I think is good. But yeah, it is still significant downsizing for especially, I think, the slightly lower level players that don't have any any type of backup income from either a Twitch stream or a YouTube channel. It's going to be, I think, a fairly difficult year to say, hey, I'm going to commit my time full time into this. And yeah, I'm a little bit upset by that, or I'm a little bit sad by it. Not necessarily upset. I'm not upset at ESL. I'm surprised at how much Africa cut out. That does kind of upset me a little bit, but I can't look into their finances either. It just seems wild that I think the only reasonable scenario here, or the only reasonable real explanation, is that Blizzard practically pulled out at least out of Korean StarCraft. I can't imagine. It's just very weird to me. But yeah, that's the announcement, I guess. I'll keep everyone up to date in case we get to know more about anything in the future. If there will be any updates on the ESL, the EPT Championship, I think that will be interesting. But yeah, for now, I think bad news, especially for the Korean scene, and also to a certain extent in the foreign scene. So a sad day for StarCraft, but we'll soldier on as we've been doing for the past 13 years. So stay strong, my friends, and I'll see you all on the other side.